So, the time is finally here. Cyberpunk 2077's first and only DLC has been officially announced for the 26th of September 2023. This trailer, of course, dropped the one day I decided to upload in the 5 months I took as a break from YouTube. You can't make it up. So here is everything we know so far, a day late. Oh, but guys, sorry, can I just squeeze in for a second? Before we do get into this lovely video today, if you are interested in this kind of content, please do consider dropping the channel a small subscribe just to show your appreciation and of course to keep up to date with recent uploads. The general gist is that the new DLC takes place during the game's main story, not before, not after, but in the midst of V's internal struggle with Silverhand. V is still very much dying, but then a lifeline is thrown to us. Someone knows how to cure our little schizophrenic condition. An individual called Songbird who works within the NUS, or the New United States. This absolute angel wants to save us, but of course, there's a big old catch. The leader of the free world, the NUSA president, crashes her goddamn AV into Pacifica's newest development, Dogtown. Dogtown, more like Dogshit Town. The leader of Dogshit Town quite clearly values President Myers as a hostage. I mean, who wouldn't? You know, that's probably the greatest bargaining chip going. The result of this damsel in distress is the activation of sleeper agents, one of whom being my biological father, Idris Elba. Canon event, by the way. Just look in the game's logs and you'll see that we're actually related. So naturally, you go about trying to rescue the president to save your own skin. A sort of suicide mission that only someone as desperate as V would accept. Of course, along the way, you will encounter a big fuck-off robot that looks like they've been ripped straight out of the Underminer's garage, and of course no spy story would be complete without some good old-fashioned backstabbing. In the process, Max Tack also seemed to get involved, probably because you're single-handedly tearing up a small district of Night City with no real consideration for civilian life. V wants to save their own ass, so undertake the gig of a lifetime in order to not die a horrendous death. In a way, the story is exactly what we've been used to. V sucking off someone who holds immense power in order to save someone or ultimately themselves. It's kind of Cyberpunk to a T, really. Very strong connotations of power and hierarchy are common motifs throughout this universe, and this is no exception. In fact, the NUSA is probably the highest power in this game's world, aside from, of course, corporations, so really this is not an entirely out there premise. And that is the general gist of the game's story. It's nothing outrageous, it's nothing unpredictable, it's very fitting with the setting, with the genre, but you know, it seems interesting and exciting enough. I was expecting it to maybe be a little bit more complicated, but perhaps this is gonna kind of come out of the actual gameplay. You know, I'm sure that CDPR don't want to spoil the entire goddamn story, but yeah, I'm hopeful and I think it seems pretty strong and interesting to build a decent experience on top of. So let's get into some more story juice. We have a load of new information from a recent developer insight uploaded to CDPR's YouTube channel, which gave us an interesting insight into this lore. I've tried my best to condense all of this information, but goddammit, there's a lot, alright? So this is mostly cherry picked with the most interesting stuff. Dogtown is confirmed to be the new name for Pacifica's unused combat zone. This makes sense as the entire goddamn area was basically unfinished. The leader of this place is called Kurt Hansen. This gorgeous gentleman really reminds me of Merle from The Walking Dead. You know, that one that really likes every race equally. CDPR explain how Merle is inspired by South American drug lords, dangerous individuals who invest greatly in their community with building new schools, building new hospitals, providing efficient transport, etc, etc, creating this illusion that they're caring for their community, but are mostly using this as a front to launder their dirty money. I guess a bit like Pablo Escobar, but incredibly incredibly racist. Kurt's military is named Burgest. These are the people running different parts of Dogtown. This gang is actually part military, part street kid. It's made up of a mix of ex-Militech soldiers who stayed behind in Night City from the last corporate war, as well as different degenerates who have joined since then. I guess like little street urchins, if you want to, time travel from the Victorian era. Dogtown is said to have a real mix of different atmospheres. This is a place where some areas are complete anarchy, some areas have complete authority, and then there's these drug havens with hippie movements, complete war zones where no one goes to. It's a real mixed bag of experiences. Trauma Team also stay well away from Dogtown, for obvious reasons, but I think it's interesting that CDPR specifically mentioned this. Perhaps this somehow ties into the story, or if you want to be real optimistic, maybe suggest that they're going to play a bigger part in Phantom Liberty, maybe even a part of gameplay. Who knows? This district as well, like basically the entirety of Pacifica, was essentially built to be Las Vegas, a place of luxury entertainment where the rich go to blow off steam. But as we know, war often fucks things up. Dogtown is now a strange place. It's a free-for-all that's absolutely dangerous, but strangely attracts business. And that's because Dogtown is a free trade area. It's a community free from corporations and, most importantly, corporation tax. So in essence, it's really just a massive black market where there are no limits on what you can buy. Alright, moving on. You remember the Underminer's robot? This big, scary looking thing which seemed very dangerous and ominous in the trailer. Yeah, well, this is actually a Militech Chimera. I don't know if I said that right, but basically it's a piece of equipment left behind from the last corporate war. This thing is probably gonna fuck us up. I mean, look at it. I'm terrified already. I pray to God that this isn't some kind of Adam Smasher event where he looks like a complete and utter beast, but then when you actually come up against him, he's no different to any other enemy in the game. If this robot is just another goddamn sponge that looks intimidating as hell, but is like fighting a mildly overweight child, then I'm gonna be real disappointed. Anyway, look, some final points of interest that come out of this developer briefing. My biological father is given a bit of a shout out here. I'm so goddamn proud that he's getting the recognition that he deserves. He's such a good fucking dad. Apparently he was the absolute shit back in the day and was essentially responsible for overthrowing governments with relative ease. He was described as the kind of guy that could turn shit around without anyone really understanding how. This is kind of like dad lore. Like every dad has some weird, crazy backstory that slowly unravels the older you get. Anyway, look, he's a complex character according to CDPR, and there's this kind of internal struggle between personal and professional, doing things for the greater good, but then slips into, the human side where he wants to do things for himself. He wants to do things for V. It's a bit more of a personal struggle as opposed to this is my goal and I will complete it. And CDPR are gassing up this guy as being incredibly dynamic and hard to predict. This is Idris Elba after all. This guy is an incredible goddamn actor and he's very well respected, especially in the UK. So if this performance is anything short of perfect, then I will probably shit my pants. And anyway, that's really about all there is. I mean, hell, CDPR basically came out and said that the entire fucking game is getting reworked with a large patch to go alongside Phantom Liberty, but that is for another video. That's for tomorrow, okay, because I need to chill out. So look guys, in the meantime, tell me what you think of this. Give me your thoughts, your opinions, your deepest, darkest desires, and in the meantime, we can have a good old discussion, maybe a heart-to-heart, maybe even an intervention, depending on how deep and dark your thoughts and feelings are. I'm going to stop waffling. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys very shortly.